with Final Fantasy being out and everybody's releasing their videos about the game and stuff like that, I'm not necessarily gonna hold you. This game has no right being a damn game. I ain't gonna necessarily hold you. This game is long as shit. Granted, I say this from the perspective as someone who has not bought Final Fantasy 16. The reason why is because, do you really think I have the money to spend $70 on a game? Hell no. But when it comes down to things, I've been watching it from a channel called MK Ice and Fire, which I usually watch sometimes when it comes to games I'm interested in. But when it comes down to things, boy, this game is slapping. I ain't gonna go into the details. I ain't gonna necessarily say, anything of the sort. Maybe I'll save it for the end, maybe because there's a few waifus in 16 I ain't gonna necessarily hold you kinda slapping, I'm not gonna lie. But when it comes down to things, I basically wanna say that with Final Fantasy 16 just being the game that it is, especially with its icon battles, which has quite literally no type of right to be as good as it is, this gives me hope for Kingdom Hearts 4. Now, I'm not necessarily gonna lie, yes, we already know that probably with Kingdom Hearts 4, the whole ass industry is probably not gonna be, behind, Kingdom Hearts 4 like Final Fantasy 16 is, because obviously they are two different games, and Kingdom Hearts is unfortunately slightly like the back burner of Square, honestly. But when it comes down to things, this kind of gives me hope for it, because one, 16 came out first, then 7 is going to come out, then that game should have its good moments. Then when Kingdom Hearts 4 come out, which we literally see nothing of the game. Technically, we haven't seen anything of the game, just a concept of it, because it's supposed to be in Unreal Engine 5. So we technically haven't even seen what Kingdom Hearts is about, honestly. So when it comes down to things, we just kind of just sitting here. We just kind of just sitting here, we're just waiting on what is actually going to be the case when it comes down to that game. And if it's just as good, if not even better than what FF16 is, then holy shit, we're gonna be in a good ass time. Now, obviously, I ain't gonna necessarily say like, oh, it needs to have its gameplay changed, or it needs to have like a whole bunch of shit changed. It doesn't need to be changed like a lot. Kingdom Hearts combat should be Kingdom Hearts combat, and that should stay for what it is. But it definitely should have like the upgrades that 16 gave, to Final Fantasy and all that other stuff too. Like, we see like a little bit of what Kingdom Hearts 4 could potentially be like in some shape or form with Final Fantasy 16, with certain battle elements, maybe like the flying part where you had to fight Joshua like in the like how you had to fight Ifrit in the demo of FF16, and that could be something that could be potentially in Kingdom Hearts, maybe with like a flying section if we have gummy ship battles and stuff like that, maybe something of the sort. Then, because I ain't on this a lot, watching some of this stuff, it reminds me of old kind of like gummy ship battles from Kingdom Hearts 2, but in a different way. And when it comes down to things, maybe we'll see like something with the shot lock, because obviously they put a shot lock in 16, which is your electro shit with, Ramua and that whole thing, which is really cool. But still, I would like to hope that, expectations can be high for KH4 whenever they decide to show it. And I don't think it's unreasonable to have high expectations, honestly. Especially, again, after seeing what I've seen, because some of these boss fights are absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't make any type of sense. Titan and Bahamut's doesn't make any sense of how this is a video game. But when it comes down to things, it was slapping. It definitely was slapping. I'm not necessarily gonna lie. Haven't finished, obviously, watching it because I'm waiting on their uploads and stuff. But still, just watching those fights was like, excuse me? This is something that you can do in a fight? So I was very, very, very surprised. And, even as someone that's not playing the game, and probably won't play the game for a while, but even as someone who has not physically played the game, this junk looks absolutely amazing. I will say this though, doggone, is the story long as shit. I didn't think how long this story was actually going to be, right? I was thinking, oh, this story gonna be alright here, and there. This is gonna be about, it ain't gonna be quick, but it ain't gonna be like, anything too crazy. But no, this game is actually super long as shit, and it doesn't make any kind of sense of how long this game is. So this, honestly, especially with cutscenes alone, is like 20 hours. So again, this kind of made me think, well, what the hell is Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be? right? This just makes me excited for whatever that, you know, they expand on from this game to go into the future titles of, you know, what they're gonna do with future games and stuff like that. Even with 7 Remake, right? Even with that game, I'm kind of curious to see what they're gonna try to pull and do, and how that's gonna even turn out with 7, right? But overall, like I said before, my concern is mainly going to be Kingdom Hearts 4. Like I said, I don't have the money to get FF16. I wish I could, because damn, this game is worth. I would say this, for how much the industry is putting back behind this game, I would say it's worth the 70. I still don't think, you know, games should be $70 because it's ridiculous. But I would definitely say, if there's one game that's worth $70, I would say this is probably going to be it. This would probably be it, with how much stuff you can do in the game, how much, you know, story, and how much just really good shit is just really in the game. That is like the stuff I would say, okay, if you said this game was $60, or $70, then that's fine. I don't like that price tag, because that means kind of, especially if you're like not necessarily having a lot of money, you have to kind of save up whatever you have, which honestly will only be for Kingdom Hearts 4. Even FF7 Remake, if I don't have the money by that time, I'm not gonna get it. I'm just probably not. Plus, for Persona to come out at that time near there too, so it's gonna be one or the other when it comes down to things. Honestly, it's not gonna be necessarily great. Like, I don't even have enough money for the rain code, so what makes you think I'm gonna go ahead and just try to go ahead and get 7 and even 16, right? Like, the only game I will promise you I'll get day one that is gonna be 70, which will be Kingdom Hearts 4. That's it, as far as I'm concerned. But despite the price tag, like I said, if they're gonna pump it out and make games this good, which all games that's gonna go for anything higher than what it currently is, needs to be slapping really good day one. You know, yes, I did see, when I was watching his playthrough though, I did see a few small little things that was weird, but there isn't anything that's really overly like, oh, this game is unplayable, or it's so obvious that there's something bad with this game. Not really. There's not really many things I can point out, outside of maybe the FPS is a little slow at times, but maybe that might be the YouTube video, so I'm not necessarily sure. There is also times where random pop-ins kind of happen, but that was like only 2 times where I've seen it, so it's not necessarily the worst damn thing. But still, nonetheless, you know, the game obviously is going to have its issues. There ain't no such thing as a perfect game, but definitely it's pretty solid for what it is. Like, I would say they were pretty solid on that. Don't need to have a day one patch, honestly, because yeah, you honestly don't really need to have one. It's pretty damn playable, honestly. I'm just really shocked at how much stuff is in the game, like how much content, how many places that you can go to is in the game. That part I would say I'm practically really shocked about, honestly. You know, so if we're gonna talk about all things that really gonna have me shocked, it's the amount of stuff that is actually within the game, right? So I kind of hope and expect Kingdom Hearts kind of have somewhat the same kind of completion time as 16, if not just a slight bit less. But you know, because I do feel like there are certain parts of the game where it does drag on in a lot of areas and stuff like that, but still it is good for what it is, you know. Because we ain't gonna necessarily lie, we talking about narratively how 16 is, this game is really good narratively. I'm not necessarily gonna hold you, although I will say one thing though, I swear Clive has been through some shit. He has been through so much shit in this game. And Jill, you mean tell me you can't throw it back? Like, dead ass? You can't sit here and throw it back for Clive? He's been through a lot. Man's been through a lot of things. I ain't gonna say what it is because the game is still fairly new. I want people to look it up and kind of see. But still, you should be throwing that ass back for your boy. I'm not necessarily gonna hold you. That would do him so much justice to get his mind off some things, right? Yeah. I don't understand that. Like, let him have some Jill ass. It's not like you know, weird or crazy or anything. You fine. Why don't you throw it back? Honestly, that don't make any type of sense. Or shall we have the nurse throw it back for Clive or some shit? Honestly, which the nurse is fine as hell. She a little snippy. She's a little bit snippy, which is most of the women in this game. They're a little bit snippy, but they also fine as hell. Mid, kind of trash, which kind of fits her name, but still kind of fine as hell, so I'll be perfectly fine with that. The only person, which kind of goes into a little bit of spoiler of who this character is, but not really, because they don't have that big of a, I guess, importance. The only character that really I like, that honestly has done no wrong, and honestly would potentially throw it back for a certain person, would be Yote. That's literally the only person. I was like so confused when we saw them the first time in early in the game, because I was like, is this a boy? Is this a girl? I don't know. They give me feminine vibes. I'm not gonna necessarily hold you, but I've been fooled by y'all so many damn times to not know. So when it comes down to things, I ain't gonna necessarily lie. I'm kind of concerned. Is this a female? Is it not? I'm concerned. Do I say that I would clap? I'm not necessarily sure. Then we got the name drop. Then they confirmed that it is a woman. And I'm like, oh hell yes, I would clap Yote so freaking fast. It's not even funny. She stole the show outside of the nurse. But anyway, when it comes down to things, honestly, this, again, like I said before, just builds so many, I would say, maybe expectations on, Kingdom Hearts 4 and potentially what it's going to do. Because like I said before, Kingdom Hearts is just in the unknown era of what it's going to do, right? We don't even know what the party system is going to be like. So what could Kingdom Hearts do? And honestly, what it's going to be going for, I don't have absolutely no idea. But it can definitely do some things that could potentially make it way more cooler and just way more interesting. And, with how 16 is with their game and stuff like that, I kind of hope that, a lot of that drive and, I guess, passion kind of goes to Kingdom Hearts 4 as well, right? Again, I know it's like a different game made from a different person. I know we ain't expecting the same team, but I would expect, or at least have some type of expectation that, we'll get something of the sort that's really good of the product, if not even better than what 16 is. Like, if we can have these crazy ass icon battles, then I expect some bullshit coming from the Heartless and whatever the enemies do, or the foretellers in literally Kingdom Hearts 4, if that's going to be the case, if that's what we're going to do. Because because I feel like we might do like some Strelitzia nonsense, and that might be the main focus of the game. And we might fight the foretellers, but that's probably not going to be it. We might see the box opening and stuff like that. But still, like, I want to see what potentially could they do to make, Final Fantasy 16 be compared to Kingdom Hearts 4, and then both of them just be really good games, honestly. Lastly, I also saw people praise the localization of 16, which, if you know us, well, at least on this channel, localization has always been an enemy, honestly. And since they focused a lot of it on the English side and had the voice lip singing kind of be on the English side, I'm a little skeptical when it comes to certain things, honestly, when it comes to the voices and stuff like that and how it kind of goes. But 16 has been fine, right? They do feel like realistic people. However, I really hope that doesn't transfer over to Kingdom Hearts 4, right? I hope that doesn't transfer over to Kingdom Hearts in general, mainly because I just don't want to see, I mean, Sora can be like obviously a little bit more, I guess, more open up as a character, and a little bit, just a slight bit more normal. But at the very same time, I want Sora to be Sora, the Sora that has always been Sora, and he just grows as that Sora, right? I don't want to necessarily see him go and do some crazy shit like what 16 is doing. Like, let Kingdom Hearts be Kingdom Hearts and let Final Fantasy be Final Fantasy. Just let both of them be really good games at the end of the day. That's really all I would like to see, right? Because like I said before, we had the same localization for, Kingdom Hearts from 16. I really wouldn't like that much, honestly. Because, and besides, Kingdom Hearts is a game mainly aimed for children too. So, a lot of that stuff would probably not fly. So, again, hopefully we'll have, Kingdom Hearts 4 be its own thing with its own localization and be fun in its own way. And then obviously 16 can continue to do what it wants to do in its own way as well. So that's what I would say I'm looking, I guess, forward to when it comes to that part, right? So outside of that, that's essentially all I really want to say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out. Also follow me on the socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Patreon is available as well. And until the next video, sign off. Have a blessed day.